Hola, bienvenidos a todos al seminario de Web Required Exams, exámenes requeridos. Por favor, me avisan si me escuchan mi voz fuerte y claro en la caja de preguntas. Y por favor, me avisan si ustedes pueden ver la pantalla. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the informative session, Required Exams. Just so you know, this webinar will be in English, as you will be writing your exams in English. We're going to go ahead and start right away. Just a few reminders. Your microphones will not be working during the webinar, but you can write your questions in the questions box to the right, caja de preguntas. Also, please try not to repeat your questions, so you don't need to write your questions twice, and you also don't need to repeat questions that other people have already written. So you can take a look at the questions and make sure you write the ones that have not been written. Also, this webinar will be recorded, so if you missed anything, you can take a look at the webinar. We will post it on our YouTube page. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you're not familiar with Fulbright, which I hope you all are, it's an exchange between education between the US and Colombia, but it's not an exchange as one person takes the place of another person in the other country. We basically give scholarships to Colombians to study at the doctorate, master level, to do research, as well as to be teachers. In the United States, we also offer the opportunity for students and people from the United States to come to Colombia and study as well. So today we're going to talk about the exams, the required exams for you guys. So the objectives that we're going to go over today, I want participants to have the necessary information required to register for the exams, and then also have the knowledge of where to find the resources for these required exams and able to study and prepare to give your full effort and get the best possible score you can on these exams. Do any of you remember what the required exams are to apply? So I am going to present to you a survey. So go ahead and answer one. So what are the required exams to apply to Fulbright? Hello, hello. Check, check. Can you hear my voice? I noticed the microphone was turned off. Maybe we lost reception. Can you hear my voice? Okay, let's see when it turned off. Looks like about 12:07, and right now it is 12:12. So I will go back and explain again. It is very strange that we lost my voice. Let's go back. Okay, after the question. So let's talk about the required exams. TOEFL IBT, TOEFL ITP, IELTS, and the GRE. So if you answered 2 and 3 for your answer, you are correct. So we accept the TOEFL IBT, the TOEFL ITP, and the IELTS academic. And GRE is required only at the doctorate level, okay? We do not accept any other English exams besides these 3 exams that you see now. And the GRE, what is the GRE? It's a general record examination. It's very similar to the ECFEST, except it's to apply to universities in the United States. It's a standardized test. It's a requirement for most schools at the postgraduate level. But remember, first you apply for the Fulbright scholarship. Then we help you apply for the universities in the United States if you win the scholarship. And if you win the scholarship, we give a voucher to take the GRE and the TOEFL IBT free with us. So therefore, the GRE is not a requirement for those looking to apply at the master's level this year. Just to remember, so the scholarships open right now at the postgraduate level. The GRE, which is required, it is required for Consciencias, Fulbright Consciencias, and Fulbright Latitudes Indígenas or Fulbright Latitudes Afrodescendientes only if the candidates are aspiring to the doctorate level. If in the 2 scholarships in Fulbright Latitudes Indígenas or Fulbright Latitudes Afrodescendientes, if they're applying at the master's level, it is not a requirement. The GRE will not be a requirement. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about what does each exam measure, how do you take it, the scale, time of each exam, the cost, results, how long it takes to receive your results, how long it takes until those results expire. If those results, you can use them to apply for institutions and universities in the US, centers to take your exam, and dates. And remember that each candidate is responsible for their own dates, registering, and costs of each exam. Finally, how to prepare and how to upload the results in the platform Slate. So just to go over the scores, TOEFL IBT is 80, TOEFL ITP is 567, and the IELTS academic is 6.5. The scores, these are minimum scores, so you must have this score or higher to apply. So if you have a 79 in the TOEFL IBT, you will need to retake that exam before the closing of the convocatoria, the call for applications. Also to note, the scores for English exams are different for Latitudes Indígenas because it is the 3rd language that many of them are learning. So be sure to take a look at the terms of reference to find those minimum test scores there. Entrance exam, GRE, there is no minimum score for the GRE, though it is very important for those aspiring at the doctorate level in the United States to study for this exam, because we are still looking at the scores of this exam. So let's take a look at the differences between the English exams that we accept for the postgraduate scholarships. So what form is each exam in? So the TOEFL ITP is the one that will be paper-based, and it's multiple choice. The IBT and the IELTS academic are both computer-based exams. What does it measure? The IBT and the IELTS, they both measure listening, reading, writing, and speaking, okay? Whereas the TOEFL ITP measures listening, reading, written expression. So the TOEFL ITP does not measure speaking. That's the main difference. The scale, the TOEFL ITP is 310 to 667, 31 to 68 points per section. The IBT is 0 to 120, 30 points per section. And the IELTS is 0 to 9, and it's a band score. The time for the ITP is 2 hours, IBT is 4 hours, and the IELTS is 2 hours 45 minutes. Now, the most important thing, the cost for a lot of you. The IBT is, oh, that is actually different now. It's $240, so it's actually $20 more than it used to be. And the IELTS is 615,000 pesos. Okay, so the TOEFL ITP you can take multiple times for the cost that you would pay for the IBT or the IELTS. The results sent with the TOEFL ITP is 10 days. Okay, so at the very max, it will take 10 days to receive your results. With Fulbright, we usually send those results a lot quicker, especially when it's coming closer to the end of the convocatoria. TOEFL IBT, it can take up to 13 days, and the IELTS up to 13 days. The expiration for all of these exams is 2 years. So you can apply with these exams up to 2 years, and your results they can expire basically the day after the convocatoria. So if your results expire in May 2019 on the 23rd, the day after the exam, they still work. So they have to be valid during the convocatoria up until May 22nd, 2019. Are all of these exams valid for the Fulbright scholarship to apply? Yes. The only difference is the TOEFL ITP is not valid to apply for institutions in the US. Or actually, you can apply to some institutions these days, but in general, you can't apply to very many institutions with the TOEFL ITP at universities in the United States. Okay, let's talk about the TOEFL IBT. So centers, you have Barranquilla, you have Bogota, Bucaramanga, Cali, Cartagena, Chía, Ibagué, Manizales, Medellín, Montería, Pasto, Pereira, Villavicencio, and the dates to sign up. So there is a handout page. So if you look to the right, on your control panel, you will find documents, and you have one document there. Okay, and the document is webinar handout exam links. So you can go ahead and download that right now, and you'll have all of these links that I'm mentioning in the webinar right now. If you are watching this webinar on YouTube, you can ask me to send it to you, and I will share with you my email at the end of the webinar, consejeria@fulbright.edu.co. And remember, on this link, when you register, basically you're just going to type in your city, and it will find the center nearest to you. Taking the TOEFL ITP, okay? You can take it with us Right now we have dates in Bogota, Armenia, Barranquilla, Bucaramanga, Cali, Pereira, Manizales, but we're constantly updating our calendar. We constantly have more and more dates in more cities. And if you get enough people together in your university and they want to take the exam, they can contact us and we can actually set that up for you guys to where you can take the exam at your university. You will need to contact Fundación Fulbright, who are in charge of the exams. Let me know if you're interested in that. Also, through the Colombo in Medellin, you can take the TOEFL ITP every Tuesday and Thursday. How to register for a TOEFL ITP test with Fulbright, so not with Medellin because they have a different process. Click on the pre-register link to the corresponding city. So you'll go to our webpage, you'll go to Fundación, and below there you'll find the TOEFL ITP, you'll find the calendar, and in that calendar you'll find the links to your corresponding city. Read carefully the instructions in the pre-register link, download and fill out those instructions, hand in the document at the center where you'll be presenting the exam, and make sure you pay the corresponding fees of the exam and attach the payment to show in the center where you take the exam. Remember, the exam costs 187,000 pesos. And then again, you can download the test taker handbook and also check out your handout that is attached to this webinar. And then for additional information, and this is the contact in case you're interested in having this exam at your center, you get enough students together, maybe 10 students, and you want to take it at your university or your center, and then you can contact this email, tofl@fulbright.edu.co. And then IELTS, you have centers in Barranquilla, Cartagena, Ibagué, Bogotá, Bucaramanga, Cali, Medellin, Pereira. And you can also find those links, that link on your handout. So which exam should you take? It really depends on you and what you're interested in doing. For example, if you want to apply for universities in the US, in case you don't win the Fulbright scholarship, or you just want to apply to universities right away, I would recommend the TOEFL IBT. But if you're just applying for the scholarship for Fulbright, take the ITP because it's a lot cheaper. And if you win the award, then we give you the option to take the TOEFL IBT free with us, and you also take the GRE for free with us. Also, there's an article attached to the handout, which is IELTS versus the TOEFL, if you'd like to take a look at that. Now let's talk about the GRE test. The GRE measures 3 areas: writing, which is 0 to 6, qualitative, 130 to 170, and quantitative, which is 130 to 170. This is a means of computer or paper. There are a few institutions that do it by paper. I believe in Barranquilla. The scale is 0 to 340 for the qualitative and quantitative section, 0 to 6 for the writing. The time is 3 hours, 45 minutes, cost is $205, and you'll receive those results in 10 to 5 days. And unlike the English exam, the GRE will expire in 5 years instead of 2 years. This exam is valid to apply at universities in the United States. And for us, there is no minimum point to apply for the Fulbright scholarship. So as long as you have that minimum English score, of course you check the requirements for your specific scholarship. We do not require a minimum, but please, I urge you to study because this exam takes some preparation and at least a few months. So you want to make sure you get a book or you take a course and you study for this exam thoroughly before you take it. GRE centers, there's Bogota, Medellin, Cali, and then paper-based Barranquilla, Bucaramanga. Take a look and see if there's one nearby your city. So remember, the GRE is only a requirement if you are aspiring at the doctorate level. So only for those interested who in doctorate programs in the United States for our scholarships. I know that the GRE is a requirement to apply for institutions in the US at the master's and doctorate level, though remember, through us, you first apply to the scholarships, then we give you a voucher to take the TOEFL IBT and the GRE for free with us, and we help you apply up to 5 universities. And we also pay the application fees, which can range anywhere from $300 to $500 for those application fees. So the GRE is not a requirement for master's level applying just for the scholarship, okay? But it is a requirement at the doctorate PhD level. It's required for the scholarship Fulbright Ciencias, and it is also required only for if you're aspiring at the doctorate level for Fulbright para líderes indígenas and Beca Fulbright para afrodescendientes. Okay, now do you remember which exams are required to apply for a Fulbright scholarship? Hold tight. So go ahead and answer. It's the same question, same answer. I hope you guys got it now. Okay, it looks like 78% of you have voted. It's okay with me. I'm going to close that poll. We're going to share it. So the majority of you voted 2 and 3, which is the correct answer. So the GRE for the doctorate level, and then we also accept the IELTS academic, the TOEFL IBT, and the TOEFL ITP. So very good for those of you who guessed that. 20% of you just guessed number 3. So IELTS academic, TOEFL IBT, TOEFL ITP. Yes, that is required only at the master's level, one of those exams, though we mentioned that it was at the doctorate or master's level. And then 2, 3, and 4. I guess that could also be true. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about how to prepare. Oh, I should probably close that so you can see. Okay, now let's talk about how to prepare. So where to buy or rent test prep books, how to make a study plan. Really important is that you register now. So register now so you know how much time you have to study for your exam, and so you can make a decent study plan. Don't wait until the last minute to take this exam because sometimes spaces fill up, okay, and it's also just good to know exactly how much time, where your test center is, how to get there, so you're not late and stressed out, because the last thing you want when taking an exam is to be stressed, right? So buying a test prep book, you can buy it with us, with Fulbright. So you can go onto our webpage and buy a book from us, fulbright.edu.co, Fulbright, it's not .edu.co. And there you can purchase from us the newest version of the TOEFL IBT book, the latest version of the official GRE book, and TOEFL ITP test. And we also sell another book, which is the TOEFL practice test. So all you do is you fill out a request online, send a copy of the receipt to Fulbright, or come right to the Fulbright house, and we can hand you in the book if you bring a receipt. You can also rent test prep books. We have a library here at Fulbright. Call or send an email before coming. We don't have the latest version of the TOEFL book, though we do have the earliest, most recent version before the newest version. We have the 4th edition of the TOEFL book. Okay. We also have GRE test prep books. Also, you can call a Centro Colombo Americano nearest to you. So there are Centro Colombo Americanos. Also, you have a link in your handout, but there is one in Armenia, Barranquilla. There are 3 in Bogota, Bucaramanga, Cali, Cartagena, Manizales, Medellin, and Pereira. And they all have libraries, resources. Education USA is a wonderful resource for you guys. So making a study plan. So like I said, register for your test now. Revise, then purchase a book or rent a book or take a course. But if you have a book, revise the table of contents in the book. Think about how many weeks you have to study, how many hours a day you're willing to dedicate to this plan, and then change the plan once you start studying, and then dedicate yourself to your plan and make sure you work on all of those areas that you're not necessarily efficient in, and try and finish your study plan and be prepared for the test. Finally, let's talk about uploading the results. So in Slate, there are 2 sections that you're going to fill out for your test scores. There are test scores, and then there's another section called score reports. So remember, you're going to upload only 1 English exam. You only need to upload 1, and only one of the 3 that we accept. And then the GRE at the PhD doctorate level only, remember. So for the test score section, you're going to choose the date of the exam and the points for each section. We only take into account the overall score, so remember that we want you to add each section, but we don't have a minimum for each section. We just need an overall score of 80 in TOEFL IBT, 567 in ITP, or 6.5 in the IELTS academic. Okay. And in this section, when you're choosing your test, the TOEFL ITP will be called paper-based test. So for those of you who are filling this out for the first time, it won't say TOEFL ITP, it will say TOEFL paper-based test. So choose that option for the TOEFL ITP. On the score report, that's where you'll actually upload your official scores. Remember, you don't need to send any documents to Fulbright. You just need to upload it in PDF on the Slate application. So there is where you will upload your results in the PDF form. So what you're going to upload could even be what they send you by email. Okay, so your results by email. All you have to do is print them out or save them and then upload them directly to the Slate platform. You do have until May to send in your results. So if you don't have your results by May 22nd, you have until May 30th to send us your results. If you have your results before May 22nd, just upload them right to the platform. That's all you need to do. If you have them later than May 22nd, from May 22nd to May 30th, we're going to want you to send those results to documentos2019@fulbright.edu.co. Okay. Now, if you are going to take that exam as late as possible, I would recommend no later than May 14th. Remember, for those exams, you have anywhere for, even the GRE exam, right? It's anywhere from 10 to 15 days. So I'm even giving you a day buffer zone. So May 14th would be the very last day that I would recommend taking the exam. Okay. So make sure you sign up for an exam now, register, and make sure you take that exam no later than May 14th. Okay, let's ask another question. Do you remember where you can buy test preparation books? Okay, let's go ahead and share that. So you can buy those textbooks through us. We'll send them within 2 days right to your house. So at the Fulbright website, okay? And you also have that link in your handouts. Okay, well, thanks for joining me in the webinar today. I will take questions. Also, so you know, other webinar sessions, remember this is specifically for exams. So that was today. Tomorrow we're going to do ensayo, so we're going to do essays tomorrow, all in English. Then on Thursday we're going to do CV, curriculum vitae, and then finally application in Slate. Okay, and then further along we're going to have Q&A sessions, and we'll also have Q&A sessions for each of the scholarships. If you're interested, depending on which one you're interested in applying to. So thank you so much. Remember, here's my email, consejeria@fulbright.edu.co. So now I will take questions. You can write them in Spanish or English. Good afternoon. I have a question. What do I need to do first? Apply for the scholarship, present the exams, and when I do need to present GRE, before or after application of the scholarship. So I know it can be a little confusing. Basically, what you're going to do to apply for the scholarship, it's required that you have an English exam. Okay, either the TOEFL ITP, TOEFL IBT, or IELTS academic, and GRE only for the doctorate level. So if you're applying for a master's degree, you do not need to take the GRE yet. Okay, so those are required to apply for the scholarship. Once you receive the scholarship, then we give you a voucher to take the TOEFL IBT free with us, and the GRE, because the GRE is still a required exam to apply for the universities, but you get to take it free with us. Though still, I would recommend to start thinking about studying for the GRE exam. Okay, so buying a book, renting a book, and start studying. Maria Fernanda, I didn't see any date scheduled to take TOEFL ITP in Medellin. Are you planning to open dates in this city? I did mention in a slide further back that Medellin is offering, um, they are offering dates, but it's not through us. It's not through Fulbright. So you'll have to go to Centro Colombo Americano, which I believe is in your handout, and you can click on that link and find the dates there, but you cannot apply to those exams with us because in Medellin we do not offer exams. That's all the Centro Colombo Americano. Nicolás, tengo una pregunta, aunque no es de este tema. La experiencia en investigación puede ser una empresa privada en la área de investigación y desarrollo. Nicholas, we are only answering questions for the exams. So, if you would like to know, the investigation experience needs to be from an investigation institution. It can't be, I mean, if it's a certified investigation institution, it works as the 2 years, but if you're simply doing research for your work, that would not count. So you need to make sure that it is an accredited research institution. Okay, Edgar. Si está próximo a cerrarse la convocatoria y aún no me llega el puntaje de TOEFL, ¿puedo subir el certificado que ya presenté y está pendiente el resultado? Okay, so basically what you're going to do, Alfonso, Edgar, is if you took the exam and you didn't get the points that you needed, okay, you don't have the minimum. Let's say you have a 72 and the minimum's an 80. What you're going to do is you're going to register for another exam, remember, no later than the 14th of May, and you're going to send us that receipt. So we want to know that you have already registered for an exam, and you're going to upload that on the Slate platform. So on the Slate platform, instead of uploading your results, you're going to upload a receipt. And then instead of putting in your score, right, because it asks for the score, you're going to put 9999 or 0000. I don't remember exactly, but it is in the application for Slate. Okay, so if you did not pass that exam, do not upload those exam scores because we will see those exam scores and your application won't move on. So don't upload exam scores if they're lower than the minimum. If you think you can do better on the test, then send us the voucher or the receipt that you do have already planned to take another English test, preferably by May 14th. Juan, do I need TOEFL results to apply for the scholarship? I mean, do I need to present the text prior to the application? So Juan, we accept the TOEFL IBT, the TOEFL ITP, or IELTS Academic, and it is, yes, it is a requirement to apply for the scholarship. You must have a minimum of 80 in IBT, 567 in ITP, or 6.5 in IELTS, which is around a B2 scale. Laura, can we talk a little bit more about GRE minimum scores or examples from past Fulbrighters? Okay, Laura, well, I'll give you a good example. So if you are applying for US institutions and you want to receive a scholarship, what those institutions are going to ask for and what we're going to ask for from our nominees is around a minimum of a 300 total. or maybe a little bit more. In general, what universities ask for is about 150 in qualitative, 150 in quantitative, one moment, and then 3.5 in analytical writing. So it would actually be around a 300, 3.5. Susana, I asked to the Colombo Americano here in Medellin, but the fee is 205,000. That is true. The fee is different in Medellin than our fee, and we cannot offer the TOEFL ITP in Medellin. So it is a little bit more expensive, but if you look at that price, it's a lot less expensive than taking the TOEFL IBT or the IELTS academic. Elena, so the GRE is not required to apply for master. Okay, the GRE is not required for the Fulbright scholarship, to apply for the Fulbright scholarship at the master's level. A GRE is a requirement to apply to the universities in the United States at the master's level. So, to apply for the Fulbright scholarship at the master's level, you do not need to send us a result for the GRE. If you win the scholarship, then we give you a voucher to take the GRE free with us. Brainer, Andres, what if I have IELTS band less than 6.0 for applying to master's program? If you do not have the minimum score to apply for the Fulbright scholarship, my recommendation is take another exam, okay? Because you need to comply with the minimum exam in order to apply for the scholarship. If you have something lower, you won't be able to apply. We'll see that score and your application will not move on to the next process. So you need the very minimum score, 80 in IELTS, 80 in TOEFL IBT, 567 in ITP, and 6.5 in IELTS. Remember, for the scholarship Líderes Indígenas, it is a lower score, so make sure you look at those terms of reference. Manuela, muchas gracias. ¿Podrías, por favor, volver a mostrar las carátulas de los libros recomendados? I won't go back to those books because you can find that on our website, Manuela. So on our página de web, fulbright.edu.co, pestaña Fundación y libros. Okay, and there you'll see all the books that you need. Eliana, I have a doubt about the universities. I can apply to any university, or does Fulbright have a list of possible options? Basically, Eliana, it depends on the scholarship. For Pasaporte a la Ciencia and Conciencia, you have to apply for the top 500 universities in the world, top Shanghai 500. 139 of those universities are in the US. So basically, you can apply to just about any university. You have many options. So you want to have a good idea of what universities you want to apply to right now, but you don't have to start applying until after you receive the scholarship. So right now, focus on the scholarship, and then we give those details to the nominees afterwards. Walter, good afternoon. I already paid for TOEFL ITP to take in Barranquilla. I paid 187,000, but now they said to me that I have to pay 210. Okay, Walter, I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I guess if they change the scores. You can contact, remember that the correo that I had at the beginning, it was TOEFL exams. You can take a look. You can send them. Let's see. So TOEFL ITP. So yeah, you can ask that question, or you can send me that question and we can answer that for you. Yeah, there's the correo tofl@fulbright.edu.co. And then also for that question before, if you want to take a picture of those books, here are the books that you can take that are very useful. So you have the TOEFL IBT, the GRE, TOEFL ITP, and practice exams for the TOEFL ITP. Now let's go back to the questions. In Medellin is offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yes, Susanna. Can I apply to any university in the USA? I just answered that question. How should I practice for the speaking section of TOEFL IBT? If you get the book, there is a disc that you can download and you can practice the speaking section with them. May I take TOEFL ITP in New York? I'm not sure. I think TOEFL ITP is mostly given in other countries, but I really couldn't say. You'll have to look into it with ETS. Pablo, el puntaje para el GRE no importa para la aplicación, pero es importante en algún punto de la convocatoria, es decir, si alguien está empatado en puntos, el GRE decide o no. The GRE is important, yes. So we want to see that you do have a high score. That's why I mentioned that it is important that you study very hard for this exam, because it is still important to us. There is no minimum, though we are still looking at those scores. Jennifer, in Slate, as far as I've seen, there's not a section called Scores Report. Then is it the same than test scores? Jennifer, once you fill out one section, other sections appear. So you'll have to fill out that section and then you'll receive the other section to download your exam scores. So once you start filling out your application, new fields will appear. Nancy, I understand GRE is not required for law doctorate, right? Yes, the GRE is not required for law doctorate, so you will not need to take the GRE. Jonathan, si yo tomo el examen TOEFL ITP y obtengo el requerido, ese solo me sirve para la beca y luego en qué momento debo tomar otro examen específico sea válido para una universidad americana. Jonathan, yes, it is only, well, the TOEFL ITP works for a lot of different functions. It shows your level of English in the United States, sorry, not the United States, in Colombia. It shows different jobs that you apply to that you have a high level of English. It works to apply to very few universities in the US, so it's better to take the TOEFL IBT. And it works to apply for the Fulbright Scholarship. Once you get the Fulbright Scholarship, we then give you a voucher to take the TOEFL IBT free with us. Eric, if I want to take the TOEFL ITP in May, is there a chance to apply for the scholarship? As I mentioned above, I would say at the very latest, take this exam the 14th of May. Paula, I didn't understand well the GRE part. I just have to present it, and doesn't matter the score, Paula, there's no minimum score for the GRE. Okay, so we will still accept your application no matter what the score, though we will still review the score in comparison with other scores. So it is very important that you do study for this exam. Paula, si el puntaje de TOEFL ITP es inferior, lo solicito es una razón para no ser nominada. Siendo así, es mejor no presentarse. Paula, pues si no tiene el mínimo puntaje del TOEFL o de un examen de inglés, no puede aplicar a la beca. Es decir, que si no tiene el mínimo de 80 para la mayoría de las becas, ¿ok? Y tienes un 72, tienes dos opciones. No te toca tomar otro examen antes de la cierre de la convocatoria o antes del 14 de mayo, o no puede aplicar y puede estudiar inglés, y vamos a abrir la convocatoria en todas las áreas de estudios a nivel de maestría y doctorado entre febrero y mayo 2020, 2021, 2022. Cada año ofrecemos becas en todas las áreas de estudios a nivel de doctorado y maestría, ¿okay? Menos las áreas de MBA, Master's Business Administration, ni clínicas de salud. David, the GRE exam does not have a minimum level required, but in the Fulbright, it is qualifying between participants. I just answered that question. Sabrina, is it possible that if I got the scholarship, the TOEFL score required by university could be higher than 80 points? Sabrina, good question. Yes. Yes, it can be, and it is probable that they'll ask for 100 or higher. So that's why you have a whole year to apply for these universities and really work on your English before you apply for these universities. If you can't get that high score, then you have to choose different universities that are 80 points minimum. So basically, that's why you work with us. That's why we help you with the application process of the universities. So we're basically just apply for the scholarship if you get it, and we're going to help you out. We're going to help you find those universities. We're going to help you get your score better and get you ready to apply for those universities in the U.S. Nicolas, would it be possible to use the voucher to improve the score even if one's considered enough to apply to the university? Nicholas, yes, most definitely. So we're going to give, even if you have a 320 in the GRE and you have a 105 on the TOEFL, you're welcome to take it again if you are nominated. That's what we want. We want you to get the best score possible. Jorge, the TOEFL scores are just requirement, or it has another purpose. For example, better scores on TOEFL represent more points on overall application. Jorge, we look at the whole application in general. If you do have a higher English score, that is still very important to us. But if you meet the minimum requirement, we're going to read all your essays. We're going to go over your entire profile, your CV, your letters of recommendation. So you need that minimum point scale just for us to take a look at your profile. So it's very important that you have that. If you have a higher point, I would recommend that if you think you can do better on the exam, take it again and get the best score possible. Juan, I am not sure if you can take the TOEFL ITP in New York. You will have to look into that with ETS. Rocio, hi, thanks a lot for the info for the doctoral degree. I do not need to take the GRE at once with the TOEFL. Thanks for the info for the For the doctoral degree, I do need to take the GRE at once. With the TOEFL, okay, so the GRE is not an English test. It's a test of your general knowledge. Okay, the TOEFL is an English test. So at the doctorate level, we need to see that you have a good score in GRE. There's no minimum, and you have to meet the minimum requirement for the TOEFL, which is an 80 for IBT, 567 for ITP, and 6.5 for the IELTS academic. Daniela, how are essays scored for the TOEFL IBT? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not a professional. I don't work for ETS. So I can't tell you exactly how those essays are scored. You'll have to ask ETS directly. What should be the most important to take into account? Again, I don't work for ETS, so I'm not sure how those essays are. Okay. Camilo Pardo, estoy interesado en las becas de estancias de investigación para estudiantes de doctorado. Ok, si la estancia la voy a realizar en una universidad como Maryland, necesito TOEFL ITP o IBT. So, as well, también para aplicar a las becas de investigación y docencia, un mínimo de 80 en el TOEFL es un requisito. Entonces, solo para aplicar a la beca, sí, el mínimo de 80 es un requisito para aplicar a las becas. Adriana Ochoa, the 187,000 of TOEFL ITP tests include the option of repeat 3 times? No, you must have misheard me. So, Adriana, basically, that you pay 187,000 to take the test once. What I was trying to explain is for the cost, the price of the other exams, you for that same price, you could take the ITP multiple times, but no, 187,000 pesos, you can only take the ITP one time. Let me check the time. Okay, I will only answer a few more questions. It looks like we're almost done anyways. What if the university that I would like to get in required another exam like TOEFL? Do I need to send you both exams? So Paula, remember, first you apply for the scholarship. If you win the scholarship, then we help you apply for the exams. Most universities in the US require TOEFL IBT, which is why we give that to you for free. So you get to take the TOEFL IBT. The nominees, people who are nominated for the scholarships, get to take the TOEFL IBT with us for free. Sabrina, is it required GRE to apply PhD Conciencias scholarship? Yes, the GRE is a requirement for the Conciencias scholarship. It is also a requirement only at the doctorate level for líderes afrodescendientes and líderes indígenas. Only if you are applying at the doctorate level. If you're applying at the master's level, the GRE is not a requirement for those 2 scholarships. Juan Diego, how many days does the TOEFL books take to arrive on average? About 2 days, Juan. Paula, yes, the GRE is in English. Rocio, can I take the TOEFL test as many times as I need, or do I have to wait a certain amount of time? If I remember correctly, I believe it's around 21 days between the TOEFL test that you can take, but that's a TOEFL IBT. With the ITP, I think it might even be less, around 12 days. You would have to check with ETS, but it's somewhere around there. Juan Diego Garcia, how many times can I take the TOEFL ITP? It depends on how much time you have until the closing of the convocatoria. From here until the end of the convocatoria, I would say probably 2 times. Okay, that's about it for our questions. Thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. I will send out a short survey. It's only 3 questions, so please fill that out for me. I want to see how you like the webinar today, so I'm going to send that to you later today. Thank you all for joining me today, and we look forward to seeing your applications.